Hi guys, I'm Francesca Colicato. I'm a coach, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, and I'm with.
Michael Davis, Mortgage Guy Mike, loan mortgage originator, and all around great guy.
And welcome back to another episode of Perspectives Unleashed podcast, where we discuss topics across and share perspectives across generations. And let's talk about it. Today we'll be talking about the power of voice and listening. To kick us off, I'm going to ask you, what is voice to you?
Um, Great topic today, by the way. That was a topic that was crafted by my partner here, Francesca. Voice to me is your ability to convey meaning and emotion through the power of words. You know, I don't know. That's a very, like I told you before, that's a
Yeah,
very deep
it
question.
is.
Um, I think the power of your voice, I guess, by meaning is being able to move people
Yeah.
with what you say, being able to educate people, being able to invoke change
Mhm.
um, with the spoken word. I guess that's the what voice means to me.
That's a great one.
Mhm.
I'm gonna back up a bit and why the rationale why we're talking about this topic. So last week, while you didn't see an episode, I was out. I was at in Seguin at something called Girl State. It is a great opportunity. It's such a
Right.
great program. Just being in that environment with like 600 individuals that were selected to go represent their city in school, and we're building a government from the ground up. And I'm more into the business aspect side, so this is my
Hmm.
first time into a program where I was learning about politics and also public speaking and debate.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
going into an environment where I've never been at. So it's pretty daunting, but I was
That's
ready to
good.
learn
That's
and grow as an
good.
individual. Like my mindset going in there was to refine my public speaking skills and just to learn more about a industry that I might be interested in pursuing in. So throughout that whole week, I've learned the importance of voice and
Hmm.
using it to make change.
Right. Right.
And at that program, you have the opportunity to run for specific positions and write speeches.
Okay.
So my goal
Very
is
cool.
to go and create these speeches. A lot of people are there also to win. That's a great, opportunity to go there and win a position. But for me, I was more specifically running to make change through using linguistics and also using language to help get a message out there.
Right.
And it just
Now, is
really,
this you said it's called Girl State,
girl state, yes. So
and
this
and this is like all females.
Yes, there's a boy state and there's a girl state. So all of
Okay.
these people
Okay.
attending the program are all juniors in high schools and all
Okay.
females. And then there's a boy state one where they're all boys and
Right.
also all juniors. But this
Okay.
program's offered through all 50 states in
That's
the
very
U.S.
cool.
And
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
individuals get selected to go to represent this state at the nation's capital
Okay.
for a week. I was
Okay.
not selected, but the people that were are awesome people. But it
Right.
just that's why I came to wanting to discuss this topic on here because it just goes to show that a lot of people's lives are changed through the using of voice to
Okay.
advocate for specific things to make
Okay.
change, a positive change in society. So that's why I wanted to delve deeper into finding it, because for me I had to find that to get the courage to go up on that podium in front of 300 people plus people to use my voice
Right.
to convey a
Right.
message that I knew someone in the audience may needed to hear.
Right.
And that whole week of growing, just I wanted to come back, kind of share my perspective on it and seeing your perspective on how at different generations we use our voices to advocate for specific things that we are passionate about
Right.
and trying to find that and navigate that. And I
Right.
mentioned a lot of that in my speech. So I just wanted to come back on here and talk about it and also talk with you about it and how were you able to find your voice throughout your time
Well,
in growing?
my it is very difficult to for one to be one who can go up and speak to the masses anyway. That's already hard enough as it is. I guess, I really didn't find my voice as far as bringing change or affecting people until I started in this industry. So we would say probably 6 years ago, um, when I saw that I had to now teach people, give people the financial literacy to move forward in this endeavor of purchasing homes. So anyone out there who's interested, please give me a call.
Yes.
We want to get you in that dream home. But
Yes.
anyway, to to kind of change mindsets, on people's financial outlook in
Mhm.
life. Uh, that's when I kind of found my voice. I used that to catapult myself to different platforms, like speaking at schools uh, about financial literacy, speaking at seminars and churches and different events and
Yeah.
different things, to try to not only teach people about home ownership and the benefits and the advantages of that, but just financial literacy in a whole. So I guess I've always been one that wasn't very. I wasn't a great public speaker.
Yeah.
You do have to learn how to put that, put your voice to use, so to
Yeah.
speak, to put the right emotion behind it, to put the right, the right words behind
Yeah.
your objectives.
Yes.
But when you do, it can be a very, very powerful tool. Words are they had a saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Well, I
Yes.
disagree. Words are very powerful, and
Mhm.
they can sometimes be worse than sticks and stones. So
Yeah.
you have to be very careful on how you use them. But that's kind of pretty much where and when
Yeah.
I've really found my voice.
Hmm.
So to answer your question,
And I feel like it's a common theme, especially with me and how I was able to locate my voice, was through purpose and passion. Like I
okay.
feel like you just reiterating, like saying how you got into the industry and really found it through
Hmm.
purpose and your passion, because you found passion
Good way to
within your
put it.
work
Yeah.
and getting the opportunity to help people achieve their dream of
Right.
home ownership.
Right.
And like for me, it was kind of different. Like I had to find my voice through adversity instead of a purpose.
Really.
So
So tell us.
yes,
Speak on that.
yes. So high school has been definitely an experience for me. I faced.
Okay.
Oh,
Uh oh.
see, that's the business
I
right
know
there.
that's
Getting the
that's. Anyway, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Go ahead.
yes. So finding like my purpose through adversity, not so much, finding my purpose in through well, yeah, I will say experience though, but more so the adversity aspect. I had to
Okay.
ignite that purpose.
Okay.
And high
So if
school,
you what is the adversity? Tell
yes.
us the adversity.
So the adversity was definitely for sure. I was my first 2 years of high school. Was not that great of an experience. I
Okay.
encountered bullying during my end of freshman year and entering my sophomore year,
Okay.
where it definitely silenced my voice. It kind of I lost the version of myself where I was
Okay.
the ambitious, the kind-hearted, go-lucky kind of person, and I just completely lost it. And that's what bullying can do to you:
Well,
silence your
tell us
voice.
because I think um, that it is very important, that part right there.
Yeah.
Okay, just to unpack that part right there.
Yeah.
What was the bullying that stifled you? Because now
Yeah.
we see the person that you're becoming and the person
Yeah.
that you're blossoming into. So what was, in no uncertain definition, but
Yes.
what was the bullying that said, okay, this is really hitting me
Yeah.
and making me.
Is I was a very I must even to this day I'm still a pretty selfless person. I would
Okay.
classify myself as. I'd always try to give back at any opportunity that I can. Very giving type of person. And
Hmm.
I realized I was getting stepped on pretty a lot, and it was kind of damaging because I wasn't getting reciprocated the kindness that I was sharing. In return, I was giving the isolation. I was giving the negative comments. I was constantly. It wasn't just one
Right.
deal and done. It was being constant, and even got shifted on to social media.
Okay.
And these specific people, well, not specific people, but these, you know,
Naysayers.
yes, definitely just it made me question who I was as an individual.
Yeah.
And when I got into my questioning, it was kind of difficult to be confident within myself.
Right.
And when you kind of lose that confidence, you kind of lose who you are.
Yeah.
So when I lost that
Absolutely agree.
completely entirely, I also lost my voice, which was a very big part of who I was.
Hmm.
And when I was able to regain my individuality as a person and regain that confidence, I found the power and voice to make sure that I was not only heard but also listened to. And a
Yeah.
lot of people that are in those situations sometimes are heard but never listened to and was taken action upon to help them bring them out of those situations. So
Right.
I made a commitment to myself, like I'm going to make individuals not just be heard but also seen and listened to,
Yeah.
and not be in that situation, because at the end of the day being in that situation is, and no matter what other circumstances, at the end of the day bullying hurts an individual, no matter how hard they try to cover it up or just brush it past aside, because it
Right.
does get down pretty deep in the gore.
Right.
But I use my story. I always say, I said in my speech actually when I was up there giving it, it's a testament that you're never confined or defined
Hmm.
by an individual's opinions about you,
Right.
and that I share my story, that it's a testament that you can overcome those things
Hmm.
and refine who you are and turn it as a way to, you know, trying to change the status quo, or not even status quo, but use your voice for good
Yeah.
and use your experiences as to help inspire others that may be in that situation that you once were, see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
So that's how I kind of sort of, that's how I found my voice, actually overcoming that adversity and turning it to something bigger, and seeing things not out of one dimension but seeing it in a 3D dimension
Right.
and seeing multiple perspectives. I never wish harm or any bad on upon those people that treated me that way, because you
Hmm.
never knew what they were going through. They didn't know what I was going through, so I never wished harm upon them.
Right.
I only wish them the best and hope that they find their path and
Right.
finding their voice and finding who they are and hopefully do something good, because I never see them. I never wish anything bad upon them, but I
Right.
hope for the best for them. And I will never take that experience for granted, knowing that it helped me shape who I was.
Hmm.
And yes, of course, it sucked in the moment terribly, but I
Right.
mean,
I mean, I imagine.
it needed to happen though.
Yeah.
So just
Well, I am a 17-year-old girl at this point. Okay, and I am going through these things because we created this podcast to kind of touch on different topics and how we view
yeah.
those topics, being two totally different generations, being worlds apart, so to speak, in the age difference. And so this one right here is very, very important in the
Yes.
fact that, you know, a lot of kids, a lot of 17-year-old females like yourself,
Yeah.
are going through that right now.
Yes.
Okay, they're listening to this podcast right now because it'll be replaying and they'll be listening to it. But
Yeah.
they're listening to this and they'll hear it and say, "Man, that's what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with some haters. I'm dealing with these people at school that are haters."
Yes.
And I'm listening to Franny come out and say, "I overcame that. You
Yep.
know, I had that." We've talked about it before. I know some of the things that you dealt with, but I guess what I'm saying is, how would you, if you're speaking to our audience,
Yes.
how do you overcome that? Tell our
Yeah.
audience what you did, because I'll let you know, people out there, to our fans and our
Yeah.
audience, that she did overcome that.
I did. It did
I
not
do,
happen overnight.
yeah,
It did not happen
I
overnight. Just to
and
let
where
y'all know.
she is now is a testament of that. But I want you
To explain
to
further that.
speak to
Yeah.
that.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how do you overcome
Yep.
that adversity to find
Yep.
your voice
Yeah.
to invoke change now?
Yes. So just it was a long journey. It definitely
Hmm.
did not happen overnight, guys. Like I'm telling you, it does not happen overnight. But also like going and trying to do some deep soul searching and like finding who you are and
Right, right.
finding that old individual that you were. Like for me, it was trying to go back to my childhood to see what I enjoyed, to see what made me happy, and that was a lot of my family and the relationships I definitely hold so much value to.
Hmm.
And I took the time to seek out, and like of course in that moment that I was in the situation, all the thoughts that were over my head was like a rain cloud. Like there
Yeah.
was no sunlight that was going to shine in. Like I swore like there was never going to be a happy day again. Like I was going to see it. But
Because of all of the hate you were going through.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was such a shift of energy I had to do for myself. And isolation sometimes is sometimes needed, but I feel like there's a positive isolation and there's a negative isolation.
Oh, amen.
And
Amen.
for me, I was trying to do positive isolation,
Okay.
to try to isolate the things that weren't adding to my life. They
Yeah.
were subtracting from my life and not helping me become a better person, and to add things that were helping me become a better person, like quality time with my family,
Yeah.
going to read some books, doing simplistic things, taking the initiative every day to try something different that was bringing me joy.
Hmm.
So it was very difficult to even get out of my bed sometimes and just do things that made myself happy again, such as taking a walk, washing my face. Because sometimes in those moments, the bare minimum is such an accomplishment. And
Yes.
taking like being easier on yourself, being more graceful to yourself. I
Hmm.
feel like in those moments we can still be so hard. Why can't I do easy tasks such as get out of my bed?
Right.
Be frustrated with ourselves instead of being
Right.
frustrated. Be grateful and have
Right.
more gratitude that you have the opportunity to do so. And when you see more into the gratitude aspect, when you see and locating the things step by step, the small steps that you take as accomplishment,
Hmm.
and that you're more like taking it more with grace upon yourself, it makes things a little more simplistic. And yes, it's still not going to be an easy journey, but also seeking help from those that are uplifting you in your situation is such a valuable asset.
Right.
It was hard for me because I didn't want people to worry about me. That was one of my biggest fears. But you have to take those challenging steps to become the person you are. For me to become the person I was today, I had to take challenging steps to initiate growth as
Yeah.
an individual by seeking professional help, by opening up to my parents, by opening up to other people. You have to see those as small wins,
Right.
and you can't be so hard on yourself. And for me, understanding that I realized I had mental health issues and having to deal with combat with that every day,
Hmm.
and just not being so hard. Like, why I have to deal with this instead of taking grace upon it, and being like, okay, I have this situation, and I'm going to deal with it with grace instead of
Yeah.
frustration.
Yeah.
And when you see in that perspective and keep on growing, and you're able to find your purpose in life. For me, I see that experience that I went through as an opportunity to change that
Right.
message, to turn the mess into my message, as I always say, is to turn my mess and create it to a message to help inspire other individuals that you're not alone. You're never alone. It may feel like it. For me, I definitely felt like I was alone, but
Yeah.
sometimes you got to see the bigger picture in those situations and just really try to have the fight, the grit to know that you there's something out there for better.
Yeah.
And for me, it was that grit. I really had to work deep down in my soul to help keep on persevering in that time of darkness.
Right. And I like that answer. I love that answer.
Yeah.
I feel like as a 40 plus right now,
Yeah.
I'm at an age to where people's opinion, and I'm sure your parents are probably at this same kind of idealism.
Yeah.
People's opinion don't really matter to us. We're at an age now where we're pushing 50, where we're like, hey, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you like me, you like me. If you don't,
Yeah.
you don't. Hey, I'm still gonna have my same issues, my same problems. Life goes on,
Yeah.
but we mature into that. And that's why I said that this particular conversation today was going to be very heavy upon your
Yeah.
experiences, because I think that it's way more important in your generation
Mm-hmm.
that they understand
Yep.
how important it is that they're heard,
Yep.
how important your voice is
Yes.
in everything in life. When you go through adversity, there's kids out here dealing with serious issues right now who
Mm-hmm.
feel like they don't have a voice, who feel like nobody wants to know, who feel like nobody cares,
Mm-hmm.
or who feels like if we do voice this, it may be we may get in trouble, or
Or
it may be
judged.
something judged, or it may be something that even takes us down even further.
Yep.
Um, to be able to voice what you've gone through is a very mature stance that it was just a few short years ago.
Yeah.
There's some of us that can't voice the adversity we had 10 years ago,
Yeah.
15
It
years
takes
ago.
courage.
So it does take courage to say, hey, this hurt me.
Yeah.
This hurt me to the point to where it caused me to do these things and seek this help
Yep.
and go out and change.
And I feel like a lot of perspective too is like kids can feel like, oh, like I was at a point where it's like people are having bigger issues than I am having right now, and my
Hmm.
feelings aren't valid.
That
Which
ain't that
is
much. It ain't that big a
it
deal.
ain't that
Yeah.
big of a deal, but at the end of the day, everyone's feelings are valid.
Yeah.
And as an individual, especially when I was young, like when I was like, oh, like there's people dying out there, like and I'm just like getting made fun of or stuff, or like whatever situation circumstance I was going through, I felt like it
Right.
was invalid. But at the end of the day, everyone's feelings are valid, and you're entitled to how you are feeling.
Right.
So just being confident in that too as well, and don't shove it down. Actually,
Right.
shoving it
Right.
down does not help, guys. I'm just telling
Right.
you that
Right.
it definitely does
Right.
not. And
Hear it first. You heard it
yeah,
here first.
first as someone that has went through it, it
Yeah.
doesn't help any better. And
Yeah.
speaking and using your voice upon that to even make a positive change in society through negative experiences is my main goal I wanted to achieve.
Right.
By sharing my story constantly to help show people there's truly actually a light at the end of the tunnel, because every time I was told that, I was always so frustrated. I was like, I swear there's not, I swear there's not, but
Yeah.
there truly is.
Yeah.
And it took a long time, but as long as it takes, as long as you persevered and grit through that,
Right.
is the accomplishment you should be proud of, for
Now,
sure.
with to our parents out there, what would you tell them um, as advice coming from you, who was going through this time, this difficult time?
Yeah.
And you are a lucky one that has very supportive parents.
Yes.
You have a support group around you that you can take advantage of. A lot don't. Some parents don't know how to be that support. So what would you say to these kids, as we draw here to a close?
Yeah.
What would you say to these kids going through these things, or to these parents
Yeah.
actually, my generation of people, to how should we deal with that,
Yeah.
with our sons and daughters?
Yes. Definitely, like you just said, support. Support
Hmm.
is so important. Just showing up and being there for your kid is so important. For me, like just to even
To
see,
give them their voice. To
yeah,
give
to
them their
help
voice. Yeah.
help be the courage that they may be lacking in that
Yeah.
certain moment. That's what my parents did, helping me refine my confidence, refine who I was in the activities that I love, and
Love
helping
it.
find my voice through re-experiencing things that brought me joy and happiness,
Hmm.
basically. And even to the kids out there that may not have the parental guidance or stuff, seek also people around you.
Yeah.
I'm at school 8 hours a day, and sometimes I don't see my dad. He's always at work, or I don't see my mom
Right.
because she's running errands. I also seeked help with the people within my school building,
Okay.
with counselors, with administration, people that really truly understand who I was and also had gone through what I have gone through, also to help just discuss what I was feeling in that moment,
Right.
just to find that support, also to be heard. It was so valuable, and that's why it's so close and deep to my heart why I don't just hear people. I really want to listen to them. I will give my whole 100%
Yeah.
attentiveness just to make sure that their word is heard and listened to, and taken into consideration. And it's just so valuable to me. Like,
Yeah.
materialistic things don't matter to me. No, nothing of that. Just even being heard, and also having the opportunity to be here another day to change lives through my story is
Right.
what my purpose. Why I find the bigger picture in that.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best quotes that was ever said to me. And some of the people that may watch this was also there when it was said, was like, to turn your mess into your message. And that quote was said to me in the time where I was in that mess, and I was like,
Okay.
wow, I need to find that bigger purpose. And that's how I kind of started Gear for Greatness as well. It's a bigger message of everything, and showing the adversity that I went to, that the light of the tunnel was right there, and you just trying to convert the adversity that you went to into a bigger message and a bigger
Right.
purpose to help inspire others around you and
Right.
make the world a better place. So
I
that
love
was
it.
that was a big thing. That was a quote. So that's the quote of the day, guys.
Yeah.
Turn your mess into your message, okay?
Turn your mess
And that
into
you're
your
not
message.
confined or
Yeah.
defined by the voices and opinions of others.
Yeah. And take heed to this guys, that she is telling you with all transparency that she went through some things,
And as
and
well as people are probably going through things as of right now.
right
Yeah.
now, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I know it may sound like a cliche
Yeah.
when you're in the middle of the storm, but after the storm,
It's a
the,
rainbow.
the rainbow does come.
Yep.
The sun does shine again, and life is short, but you also have time. You have time to, if God says the same, you have time to change whatever adversities you're going through. I'm glad you were able to see that, because there's a lot out here that don't see it,
Yeah.
that don't have the support
Exactly
to
why I
get them
share my
out of it.
story though.
And that's why
Yeah.
we have this forum. We
Mhm.
have this forum for those who can get on here. And I didn't really have to speak too much today, because you
No.
said it so eloquently. Um, your voice is very important. It's one of the most important things we're given, to be able to speak and hopefully invoke change.
Yep.
We do this. We started this whole thing to get on here and say topics that hopefully would kind of be a catalyst for change
Yep.
in some forums. Whether we're teaching people financial literacy, teaching people the power of their voice, the social media effect, or whatever
Mhm.
topics that we come on here and do, the objective is to reach one and teach one.
Yep.
Um, Kids out there, so much more important for kids than it is for the old heads like myself. But understand that who you give your energy to, like we've said before,
It's so
is so important. Not to veer away from what our topic was today,
Yeah.
but it aids in everything you do. Giving your energy to certain people, depending on other people
Yep.
to give you energy. All of these things are highly important. And I guess my takeaway today and my advice would be, continue to use your voice.
Mhm.
No matter what the naysayers say, no matter what the haters are doing,
Yeah.
they're only in your life for a season, guys. Haters are only in our life for a season.
Yep.
So continue to use your voice. Continue to be somebody that needs to be heard,
Yep.
that you know wants to be heard. And who knows, you may make the world a better place.
Yeah, you
So
never know where you'll go with it.
yeah,
So don't
yeah.
be confident in your voice and use it to make change. That's all I gotta say too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was another great episode.
Yes.
I thank you for your insight. I think this was one of the more impactful
Yeah.
episodes that we've done, because I think it's very important to show. And I wish the world could see all the things that you are doing, so they would know that. But hey, follow us. Keep
Yes.
following us. We're going to keep